Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this week's book review. So, this week's book is Leadership is an Art by Max Pree. And this book I got from another book that I was reading, and this was one of the suggested books. And basically, leadership, the topic of leadership is not really something I read too much about. But I do remember like my first book on leadership ever was a textbook, and it was this textbook right here. It's called, I'm gonna put the information below, but this textbook right here, and I just thought it was a very good textbook. But my aim in life is never to be like the CEO or leader of a Fortune 500 company, so the subject just never really interested me. However, I picked up this book, and it's a very short book. And first, let's talk about the author. The book is like 140, like 150 pages. And the author is Max Pree. Max Pree was the former, first he was born in 1920s, I believe. Very old guy, been around for a long time. And I think he just recently passed away last year in 2017. And he was the former CEO and also chairman of Herman Miller. Now, mind you, before reading this book, I never heard of Max Pree and I never heard of Herman Miller. So I did Google Herman Miller, and they are the largest. And also, Max Pree gives a little bit of information about the company here in the book. And they're like the largest largest furniture manufacturer in the world. They're an American-based company in Michigan, Zeeland, Michigan, and I mean they're still around. They've been around since I think it was founded in 1905, and they've been around for a long time since then. And the company does very well. They make office furniture, they make home furnitures, and one of their most notable pieces, it turns out, I just learned this, Googling, I guess, is the Eames, the Eames lounge or game chair. So like it's some very expensive game chair, and I think it's handmade, and it's about $7,000. Anyway, back to the book. Max Pree. So I gave you some information on Herman Miller, Max Pree, and in this book, the book read, I really love the tone of the book. You can tell it was written by a wise person. It has a calm tone, it has a wise tone, it has a poetic tone to it. And the book reads, I mean, it reads well. However, the topic is not, it doesn't really interest me that well. So the fact that I was able to read this book from front to back on a topic that I normally don't read about is pretty good. So let's start off with, he defines what is leadership. He goes into some types of leadership like participative leadership, and how everyone in the organization is a part, like they have their own leading role. One other type of leadership that I remember him speaking about is the roving leadership, and this is the one where it's similar to participative in terms of like when it's time for someone within the organization to step up and be a leader in certain areas, whatever office or whatever sub area they are within that organization, to be a leader. And that leadership is not all about hierarchy. So like, you know, the person at the top should make all the decision. No, he's saying that everyone in the organization should make a decision. And this doesn't touch on like the theoretical and the methodical and the this business way of being a leader. It speaks on the human way of being a leader, of building relationships. And two of the key concepts that we're discussing in this book is intimacy and communication. Everyone knows communication is very important for leadership, and intimacy is not something that we normally correlate to leadership, but in the book he does a good job like correlating it to leadership, which is like, I really like that about the book. And he shares some stories in the book. Two of the stories that stuck out in my head was the pink urinal, and that wasn't really a story, but he was saying how they were organizing this event to attract more businesses to Atlanta, because it's like a conference or something that they do every year, and someone suggested putting pink ice in the urinal to, like, you know, attract businesses. And he was just saying, you know, that's not really the way to go. And I think this was back on intimacy, right? Anyway, I'm gonna try and find it on here, but that was one. And then the other one, the other one that I found was pretty touching was